Aaron.
Morning.
Good morning, everybody. Just waiting for a couple more to join the room. We'll just start with the normal housekeeping. Cameras off, please, to save the bandwidth. If you have a question, please come to me via the chat box and indicate in there if you have a question. We'll do those in order. Australia T20 World Cup captain Aaron Finch, very lucky for him to be joining us this morning. The squad will depart for Abu Dhabi tomorrow, where there's warm-up games, 2 warm-up games to start, and then playing South Africa on the 23rd of October. We'll just wait for one more to come in. So Ben's having a bit of trouble. No, there he is. Okay, all right, we'll get underway, guys. I think we'll start off with Big Mel Con. Mel.
I've unmuted, thanks. Aaron, congratulations first of all on the birth of your daughter. How's it all going at home?
Yeah, it's going very well actually. She's sleeping pretty well, so it's been nice to be able to spend a few weeks at home with her. It's going to be probably a little bit tougher leaving tomorrow, but Amy's got it under control at the moment. She's going beautifully as a mum.
And how are you coming along? You've had the knee op. Have you been able to do much? Where's your progress?
Yeah, I've been batting for a couple of weeks. I've been modified running in the first 3.5 weeks, and then the last couple of weeks has been fine. It's been building up gradually, and had probably my biggest session in terms of fielding, change of direction, and all that stuff with batting involved as well. So yeah, it's going as well as it could be. I had a meeting with the surgeon yesterday, and he was really happy with where it's at.
And Joe Root has said that England are coming about 4 months after we thought they would be. What did you think about all the fuss and carry on from the England players and commentariat? And would you have done 2 weeks quarantine to play on an Ashes series?
Oh, it's obviously a difficult situation for them. They've been dragged from pillar to post with their schedule over the last couple of months. They've played a lot of Test cricket, so yeah, I can understand where they've come from. Having families around, especially in a pandemic, guys are on the road for a lot longer than what tours used to go when you're adding on quarantine at the start and potentially at the end, depending where you're coming and going. So yeah, I sympathise fully with them. That is difficult, but yeah, it's great to see Joe's supported that, and they're going to come down.
Thanks.
We'll go to 7 News Sydney. I'm not sure who that is, but 7 News.
Finchy, Andrew McKinlay, as a new father and as a guy who's recently had knee surgery, would you think twice about balking at an Ashes series?
Sorry, would I think twice about what, sorry?
Balking about coming to an Ashes series. Would you jump at the chance?
Oh, I think it's up to the individual. For me personally, I would do it, but we've been in a different situation to what England have been. So for them, they've played so much cricket over the last 18 months, 2 years. So I can understand their want and their need to have partners and families and as much comfort around as they can. It's a really big issue, and I guess what we're going to find on the back of this, in my opinion, is there's going to be a mental strain on a lot of people, not just players, but administrators, coaching staff, people who have done so much work. I've spent so much time in isolation and in bubbles. It does make it really challenging. So, yeah, like I said before, I can really sympathise with them, and I'm glad that everyone's come to a resolution. The quarantine conditions sound really positive.
Just on T20, we've seen your opening partner sitting in the stands in the IPL, but do you still fancy you and Dave Warner at the top of the order?
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of the best players to have ever played the game for Australia. I've got no doubts that his preparation, while he would have loved to be playing for Hyderabad, no doubt. I know that he's still training away, and yeah, he'll be good to go.
Where do you see Smithy batting in the order?
In the middle order, whether that's anywhere from 3 to 6. I guess what we're going to do is be really flexible through that middle part of the game. We've got a lot of power there when you go Mitch Marsh, Maxwell Smith, Stoinis, Wade. There's a lot of power there, and there's a lot of ways that we can go about it. So it'll definitely be in the middle order. He's a brilliant player of spin. He's someone who can adapt to all situations of the game. So we see that as a real asset for us.
A couple of reports describing the middle order as unstable. Is that word unfair?
Oh, it depends who it's coming from. It doesn't phase us really what people think of our team or the way we go about it. We feel as though we've got a squad that can win the World Cup. We feel as though there's enough experience there. There's enough power there. There's enough depth. If we structure up the side slightly different in our batting, and then with our bowling, we've got left arm, right arm, pace, guys who've got a lot of variations, and 3 brilliant spinners in our squad in Agar, Zampa and Swepson.
Speaking of bowling, Coulter Nile issued a little reminder overnight with 4 for 14.
Yeah, he's bowling nicely. I think it was at Sharjah. It looked like the wicket was on the low side, so
yeah,
that suits him. His bowling down to the ground, someone who smacks the wicket and gets a little bit of variable bounce. I think that I've seen over the last couple of IPL weeks that if you're owning the stumps on wickets that are up and down slightly, that's brought everyone into the game. Medium paces and spinner having a good impact. Fast bowlers are doing their thing as well. So there's plenty of different ways you can look to structure up your side depending on where we play. I think having a look at the wicket in Abu Dhabi compared to Dubai is totally different. So I think that we're going to have to look to be really proactive in that regard.
Thanks, Aaron.
Cheers.
Russell Gould.
G'day, Finchy. Congrats on the baby, mate. First off, just you mentioned Davey there not getting a game in the IPL. What are you more broadly your thoughts on the state of the squad, given a lot of them haven't played cricket for a significant amount of time? Guys like Pat Cummins, for example, hasn't played since the IPL finished in April. You've only got 2 blokes who are really active in the IPL, being Maxi and Josh Hazlewood. In terms of preparedness for a tournament that starts in, I think it's 18 days, it's your first game. What are your general thoughts on where everyone's at and whether they'll be match ready?
Yeah, it's a difficult one because I think there's quite a few guys that have played in the Bangladesh and West Indies, training indoors or training just in the nets is no comparison, obviously, to game intensity. So the 2 warm-up games and the lead into the World Cup is going to be really crucial. So we get out of quarantine. I think there's 3 days of practice scheduled and then 2 warm-up games. So they're going to be really important to get guys up to speed as quick as possible. But I've got a lot of confidence in the experience of the group. We've got guys who have come off long layoffs before. We've got guys who have come off injuries before. And it's not really all that much different when you're trying to get yourself up to speed quickly. I think that'll play into their hands. Might allow us to be a little bit more fresher, to be honest.
Just on the squad, it is quite an experienced one. There's not a lot of, is that one of the reasons why the squad is so experienced, given you knew you were kind of coming off a long layoff for a lot of guys, that you need to be able to hit the ground running?
Oh, I think we still feel that this is our best squad that we've picked. There's experience in all conditions around the world, and we've got guys that have performed everywhere. So I think that helps, and that just doesn't go from your preparation; it goes to your on-field performance as well. So I think it all marries up. And although guys mightn't be playing as much cricket as they would have liked, you've got guys like Stoyne who's got a little niggle at the moment, but he's still over there training and preparing in those conditions. And there's still a lot of guys that are doing that. So I see that as a real positive as well.
Thanks, Finchy.
Louis Cameron.
Hey, Finchy, you mentioned the 2 World Cup warm-up games there. Are you pretty confident you'll be okay to play in those?
Yeah, I am, mate. I think when I first had the surgery, the plan was probably it'd be touch and go for them games. But over the last couple of weeks, my recovery's progressed really well. So, it's looking more and more likely that I'll be fit and ready to go for them. Just in terms of the intensity that I've been able to train, the amount of accelerations, deaccelerations, putting load through my knee, that's all really positive. So, yeah, I've got no issues. I'll be okay for them.
Yeah, good to hear. And you kind of touched on it there about, I guess, some of the surfaces you're going to be playing on at the World Cup. Obviously, a lot of traffic on them with the IPL. I know you're not playing at Sharjah, which kind of seems like maybe the toughest, but is it going to require a bit of a different strategy from your batters to maybe, I guess, require some lower scores maybe than normal?
Oh, it depends. I think Abu Dhabi showed that that's still a really high scoring ground. I think we're going to be playing on different wickets. I think they've tried to use as fewer wickets as possible for the IPL and then have fresh ones ready to go for the start of the World Cup. So I think that it's important that we don't get sucked into to having preconceived ideas on how the wickets are going to play. I think if we just go about it with a really open mind and assess and use our experience to communicate that, or the type of surface it is, really quickly, I think that can be really valuable as well. But Dubai's generally a little bit lower scoring than Abu Dhabi, which is a big ground. There's a chance for a lot of twos there. Probably a little bit more Australian-like in terms of a bit more pace in the wicket. So, we'll take it game by game, but we'll have to be really flexible with the way that we pick our side and the way that we structure up, depending on the conditions.
Thanks, Aaron. Cheers.
Andrew Menzel.
Aaron, do you think it kind of helps the team going in as kind of outsiders to the tournament? Do you think you might be able to surprise a few people?
Yeah, I think reality is we haven't performed at our best in World T20. So I think it's a great opportunity. Like I said earlier, I feel as though our squad is good enough to win the World Cup. And it does take a full squad to do that. There's going to be changes, no doubt, throughout the tournament. So to be flexible with that, for guys to be flexible in the way or in the positions that they play, the roles that they play, will be really important. But honestly, we don't look too much into what other people are saying. We're really confident in the squad that we've got.
Thank you.
Mel Farrell.
Thanks, Cole, and congratulations, Aaron.
Thanks, Mel.
Just a couple of questions from me. One, given that the squad's dispersed all over the place and preparation is not ideal, is there something that you and the other players have been doing as far as, as looking at analytics, talking to each other, whatever it is that might be a bit different for this build-up than if you were all together?
Oh, not a huge amount different, to be honest, Mel. I think guys are really professional with the way that they prepare themselves for each and every opponent. I know the batters have been talking quite a bit. I've been speaking to Maxi and Davey, who are on the ground over there in Dubai, about the conditions, about what we can expect, what we think it might play like, but not looking too much into it, that we go in with views that I suppose we might have blinkers on when we go in. So, the guys are very diligent in the way that they go about it. No doubt that there'll be over the next week or so, there'll be a little bit more information coming back about opposition players that they're seeing. Obviously, our first game's against South Africa, and there's plenty of South Africans in the tournament in the IPL at the moment. So, there's always information sharing like that. So that hasn't changed too much. And
just on Glenn Maxwell, 3 consecutive half centuries. How do you judge his form at the moment, and sort of what have you made of watching him?
Yeah, he looks to be hitting the ball beautifully. He's confident at the moment, and his bat swing looks really impressive. So the thing I like is he's taking games deep, and as we know, he's as destructive as anyone in the world when he's on. So happy for how he's going at the moment. He's up and about too, which is nice.
Thanks.
Luke Duffsey.
Thanks, Cole. Hi, Aaron. Australia hasn't won the T20 World Cup yet. It's one of the very few trophies that isn't in the cabinet. Does that give you even a bit more motivation heading into the tournament? Yeah,
absolutely. We understand that we haven't played our best in these tournaments. We've had an interrupted preparation like everyone has over the last 18 months. So we're still very confident though. We know that if we played our best, we're going to be hard to beat. We can match it with the best in the world. We feel as though our squad is well-rounded, but we've got options to play different combinations, different structures of the side. So, it's definite motivation, but we've just got to be at our best at the right time.
Thanks, mate.
Ben Horn, welcome back, Benny.
Thanks, Cole. G'day, Aaron. Just following on what you were saying earlier about the flexibility you're going to have in the batting lineup. With Steve Smith, like is he a certain starter in your strongest team? Do you think, or is with the way he plays, is he more horses for courses?
I think he showed over a long period of time that no matter what course he's on, he's still a pretty good horse. So he's someone who adapts to situations really quickly. His game speaks for itself. The 360 nature of his game is really suited, I think, to our middle order. And he's someone who'll be in there, no doubt.
And just with Glenn Maxwell, you know, obviously there's a lot of guys who haven't had ideal preparation, but he has. You know, is it a real chance for him to, you know, kind of lead the way for Australia in a big tournament?
Yeah, definitely. He's a world-class player. When he's on, he's as destructive as anyone in the world. He's someone who in World Cups has shown in the past, whether at T20 or 50 over, that he can win games for Australia off his own bat. Just the nature of his game, when he's firing, his bowling is really important and is going to be really important to the structure of our team. His fielding's best in the world and his batting is unbelievable. So he's a really important cog in our team. So yeah, we're really confident. We're really happy with how he's going. Having spoken to him the other day, he's working on a few things. So he's confident, which is good.
Thank you.
Sorry, Jalissa Apps.
Hi, Aaron. For a few months there, we heard about some confronting feedback and a bit of turmoil in regards to JL. And I just wondered, has that air sort of been cleared now? And do you feel like there's sort of a weight that's been lifted off the group once everyone sort of got together and gave that feedback?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a really, I suppose, beneficial process to be able to give really strong feedback and see the action that's been taken on the back of that. It's been really positive. So I think just to be able for everyone to be able to get their feelings out and discuss it in a really open environment was really positive. So yeah, we're steaming ahead and the planning and preparation side of it behind the scenes has been really impressive over the last few weeks. So yeah, we're confident going into this tournament.
And just on the summer in general, have you been told anything about your families and how that might play out in terms of if there's quarantine in other states in all sort of formats? And could you see guys missing a bit of cricket if they had to quarantine for Sheffield Shield or things like that? Yeah,
Cricket Australia working really hard behind the scenes to help facilitate families coming in and out of bubbles and hubs. So I know it's something that they're not in a perfect world. It'll just be open slather and the schedule will go forward as planned. But we understand how quick things can change and hopefully people keep getting vaccinated and the country can open up fully. So I know from my personal point of view, I'd love my wife and daughter to come straight into the Big Bash hub once we're out of quarantine after the World Cup. And yeah, we're still just working on what that looks like, where that's likely to be and what the schedule will look like. So yeah, I know Cricket Australia working really hard behind the scenes, but I think we still have to just wait and see how things progress over the next probably 2 or 3 weeks.
Thanks, Aaron. Good luck.
Cheers. Thank you.
Adrian Archuli.
Hey, Aaron. Congratulations, mate. Just last month, obviously after all that Afghanistan story blew up once the Taliban took control of the country, Tim Payne sort of suggested that there's a chance that, you know, teams could boycott playing against them in the event, but nothing's changed. And from what we understand, nothing's really changed in progress with women's cricket so far. Obviously, he copped a lot of blowback from, former players in Afghanistan about this. Have you spoken to current players? Obviously, they're now in Kabul preparing for the tournament and it appears that they're going to play in the tournament. What's your feeling on the situation? And, have you spoken to players, Afghanistan players, obviously there's a lot in the Big Bash, about the situation?
I haven't spoken to them about the situation exactly. I've spoken to Mohammed Nabi just about how he's going and how his family is, but that's the extent that I've spoken to them. It's a really challenging time, no doubt, but we're supportive of Cricket Australia's position.
And would you feel comfortable, obviously, where the test is still up in the air, and obviously if the situation arises at the World Cup, would you feel comfortable playing against them?
Oh, well, that's an ICC decision. And like I said, we're fully supportive of the decision that Cricket Australia are making. We're hopeful that things can resolve itself and Afghanistan can play a huge part in international cricket. We've seen how important they are, the development of their game in Afghanistan, no doubt is huge. They have some brilliant players and they play such a big part in our Big Bash as well. So yeah, we'll just support Cricket Australia and the ICC on that.
Thanks, heaps, mate.
Just a couple more here, folks. Jim Callanan.
Thanks, Cole. G'day, Aaron. All the best, mate, over there, and well done on the bub front. Just a quick one on, a lot of emphasis, obviously, on the batting, and rightly so, and maybe on the pace attack too. But can you just give us your thoughts on how crucial maybe your slower bowlers might be in this tournament, given the conditions, and in particular, say the likes of Zamps, who seems to really have enjoyed that leadership role on the most recent tour, where you were lacking perhaps, a bit of that.
Yeah, Zamps has been fantastic for us for a long time in both white ball formats. His game has improved. His leadership around the team has come on in leaps and bounds. He's someone who is really vocal around the team, and his skill speaks for itself. And we've seen the combination of him and Ashton Agar, how good they've been as a bowling partnership in T20 cricket in particular. Probably over the last 2.5, 3 years, they've been really, really the backbone of our bowling attack with some changes around them. Kane Richardson as well. He's someone who we look to, especially towards the back end of a T20 innings, through the middle and at the back in particular. He's someone who's had a huge impact for us. But really impressive the way that they've continued to improve. Particularly Zamps and Agar as a partnership has been really impressive.
And just to follow up to Zamps, just having spoken to him in the last couple of weeks about his build-up. I mean, he's been bowling to teenagers at Northern Rivers on the north coast of New South Wales. I mean, you talk about preparations for a World Cup. There's been some different ones, but he's certainly gone old school there.
Yeah, he has, and it's really important for him that he keeps bowling. What he's found over the last couple of years is when he has long layoffs, it takes him a little bit of time to get back into it. So that was really important for him to find some facilities and just keep wheeling out his leggies and his variations, because he is a rhythm bowler, and when he's on, he's such a huge part of our team. So it's brilliant. I know he's been doing work with a local physio up there to make sure his body's as good as it can be. Obviously, bowling leg spin is very difficult on your shoulder in particular. So I've got no doubt he'll be cherry ripe, ready to go.
Good on you, mate. All the best.
Cheers.
Scott Bailey.
G'day, Aaron. Congrats, like everyone else said, mate. But just looking at your bowling attack, mate, having Josh, Mitch, and Pat together in T20 cricket, I don't know if it's actually been done before. It's so rare. So how much of a boost do you think that is? And given the wickets over there, do you see all three playing at the same time, or are you more likely to look at two quicks and then all rounders and spinning options?
Yeah, that's like I said before, that's going to be a really important conversation once we see the wickets and once we sort of assess the conditions at each and every ground, whether you go three quicks and two spin or 2 and 2 with the all-rounders. We'll just have to wait and see. But it's great to have so many options with Kane Richardson as well. He's been really important to the structure of our side. So the quick options that we've got, we're really comfortable with. Mitch Marsh's bowling has been really important, as well as Stoinis when he's played. He provides a lot of flexibility through the middle and particularly at the back end. So Mitch bowled beautifully in the West Indies as well, picking up important wickets at crucial times, and he bowled some really difficult overs. So they're all really, really good conversations that we're able to have, that we've got a full quota to pick from there.
Do you find it, I don't want to say strange and surprising, but I guess surprising in some way, that feels like for the last 6 or 7 years, those three guys have been Australia's first choice fast bowlers, but you've virtually never had a crack at them together in T20 cricket as a captain?
Oh, I think that's just the way international cricket goes. There's obviously some long summers, some big big winter tours where they're playing 3 formats of the game, and that can be really difficult. They're not robots. They need time to recharge and refresh and get their bodies right and sort out some niggles. So I totally understand that. We still got back to number 1 in the world not too long ago. So it's still great to have them available for this tournament, though.
Thanks, mate.
2 quick ones to finish off here. We'll go with Raj, and we'll finish off with Ollie Matthews. Raj.
Thanks, Cole. Hi, Aaron. Just looking at the second phase of the IPL, which is going on right now, do you think that gives the Indian players a bit of an advantage going into the World T20? Or do you think somebody like a Pakistan team, which has used UAE as a base for many, many years, would be the most dangerous team going into the competition?
I think in a perfect world, you'd love to be playing, and you'd love to have a really good lead up into the tournament, playing in those conditions, which all the Indian players are but a lot of international players are as well. So yeah, I don't think it'll make too much difference, to be honest. The way that teams prepare and turn up ready to go is going to be the most important thing. Pakistan, we know how dangerous they are. They on their day, they're as good as anyone in the world. They've got pace, they've got spin, they've got firepower with the bat. So knowing those conditions so well, that they'll be a real challenge as well.
Thanks.
Thanks, Raj. Last one, Ollie.
Thanks, Cole. And just to echo everyone's congratulations, Aaron, on the birth of your daughter. Best of luck with that. As a father of a daughter, you're in for a hell of a ride. A question I had for you was around data and analysis. And they've obviously been playing a bigger and bigger part in the sport. Have you been doing anything different when it comes to the sort of the analysis and use of data as you prepare for this World Cup?
Well, there's a lot of people behind the scenes at Cricket Australia who are diving really deep into the numbers, and I suppose by the time they get to me, they've gone through the ringer of sorry, let me start again. When you just look at raw numbers, that there can be a lot of numbers there that are quite irrelevant at times. So the guys behind the scenes at Cricket Australia, and along with the coaches that are diving really deep into them to give them some relevance to venues, to opposition, to our own team, to specific parts on wickets and wickets on blocks and things like that. So by the time they get to me, they've been through the ringer and they're a little bit more simplified and I suppose ready to use or ready to discuss, to use wisely. But yeah, there's so much stuff that goes on behind the scenes. There's if you saw all the data, it'd blow your mind. It certainly blows my mind. I don't understand a lot of it until it's into a little bit more context of a cricket specific way of using them.
Perfect. Thanks. Best of luck with the tour.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ollie, and thanks, Aaron, for joining us today. And thanks, everybody. We'll catch up with all you guys during the World Cup. Thank you.
Thanks,
Cheers,
Cole.
Aaron.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Cheers, Carl.